everyone. Thanks so much for joining again. Today I show you how to estimate the average total useful life of assets. Generally, why do we want to know this? Asset age and remaining useful life, which is part of the average total useful life of an asset, are two ratios. Quite important measurements to figure out a company's need to reinvest in productive capacity. The older the assets and the shorter the remaining life, the more a company may need to reinvest to maintain productive capacity. So it's quite important to get an idea how old is the asset base of a company and how long do those assets last in an average. And you can, based on some balance sheet and income statement information, you can get a good idea how old the asset base of a company is. Many times when you do exercises in university regarding depreciation, they give you the useful life of an asset and say, okay, this machine has a useful life of 9 or 10 years. However, when looking at the entire company, we can't do this for every single asset. So what we do is we take consolidated numbers like historical PP&E numbers, accumulated depreciation numbers, and so on to get an idea how old the entire asset base of a company is. Good, let's get started. First, the estimated average total useful life of an asset base or an asset if you don't have the data is first the average age of an asset, and here again I use the word asset or asset base because we're using consolidated number, doesn't really matter, plus average remaining useful life of assets or an asset. Basically, okay, how old is the asset already and how much time is left for this asset to be used. And the formula is as follows: average age of an asset equals to accumulated depreciation divided by the depreciation expense, and the average remaining useful life of an asset is your net PP&E, property, plant and equipment, to be found on the balance sheet, divided by your annual depreciation expense. Yeah, all the numbers are annual numbers. Here, this is an annual number. This one is annual as well. From income statement depreciation. So here, accumulated depreciation is the amount already depreciated in the past. It's basically how long your asset base or your asset has lived already. And this one, net PP&E, on the other hand, is the amount to be depreciated in the future, what is left. So if we take this example here, let's say we have bought an asset base of an historical cost of PP&E for 100K. So you have 100K, you had 100K reflected in your balance sheet. And then the entire asset base has different useful lives, but overall your accumulated depreciation for this asset base is 70K. So 70K has already depreciated over a few years. That means your net PPE is 100k minus 70k equals 30k. So this is your net PPE amount in your balance sheet. What is left? Because the assets have lost value from 100k when you purchase them. Over the time, they are now worth 30k. And then you still have an annual depreciation expense of 5k, which you can see in the balance sheet. So what you do is, if you look at, okay, how old is my asset base? What you do, you take the accumulated depreciation, which is 70k, and you divide 70k by 5, which gives you 14 years. 70 divided by 5k equals 14 years. Because it must have taken the company 14 years based on an annual depreciation expense of 5 to have an accumulated depreciation of 70k, which means your asset base is 14 years old. Then what you do, you look at, okay, how much time do we have left? Average remaining useful life of an asset equals net PP&E, again divided by depreciation expense. Your net PP&E in this case is 30. So we divide 30 by 5k, which is 6 years. So what you have average age of an asset 14 years and average remaining useful life of asset 6 years. So the total, your estimated average total useful life of your asset base is 20 years. Yeah, very easy example, but quite useful to compare different companies in terms of how old the assets are, what is left, and also what you then can do. You look at your capital expenditure rate and you can see, is the company actually investing enough to maintain the production capacity that is required. Yeah, I hope you found this useful. Thanks so much for joining again. Bye-bye.